Good evening, Facebook friends. It's Nathan coming to you live from Hemingford Home. Hope all of you are doing well this evening. I'm sure a lot of you are probably out at the Trump rally right now and probably a little cold and wet, but enjoying hearing our president speak this evening and hopefully share some words of encouragement with you. I've been quite busy lately myself, so I was not able to make it out there this week, though I very much would have liked to have been there. He's doing a pretty good job right now. He's trying to get some help to unemployed workers and small businesses around our country. He's trying to help people recover from this bullshit COVID lockdown that we now know is probably the biggest public policy error of the 21st century. It's cost our country trillions of dollars, millions of jobs have been lost. Thousands and thousands of small businesses have closed permanently around the country. And now we have leftist Democrats, demo rats, as I like to call them, who are trying to capitalize on this and shift the blame onto the president and, trying to use it as a way to help senile pervert Joe Biden over the finish line. Predictable, but I know that my listeners here can see through the BS, the political games that are going on. But it's far from a normal election season. What we're experiencing right now is a period of great uncertainty and turmoil, and there's a lot of anxiety out there. There's a lot of concern about what's going to happen in the lead up to the election and also afterwards. So that's kind of the theme for this episode, is battle lines forming. I know if any of you listen to conservative talk radio hosts like Glenn Beck or Michael Savage, they've been sounding the alarm bells for a few weeks now about the developments that have been taking place, not just with the Nazi brown shirts, aka BLM and Antifa, but also with the leftist institutions out there, the bag men, the money men that orchestrate this stuff. They put out a statement the other day, and it was a group of leftist organizations that put out a statement about what they are planning to do if Trump will not concede defeat on election night. And I'm trying to remember the name of the group. It was called Standing Up Something. But I read about it on Real Clear Politics yesterday, and the gist of it is they're preparing to conduct nationwide riots under those circumstances. They are preparing to wreak havoc in cities across this country if they don't get their way, if Joe Biden is not the winner of the election. So every indication that we're seeing right now from the left at all levels is the only result that they're prepared to accept is a Joe Biden win out of this election. If Trump wins, they're not going to accept the result. And not only are they not going to accept it, they're going to initiate violence and chaos around the country. It's a situation that most of us, I'm sure, never thought that we would face in our lifetimes, that we would be on the brink of civil war in America. But that's where we are. That's the honest truth. And we all need to accept that. Some of us already have. Some of us are still in denial. Some of us are still trying to fight our normalcy bias. But the left is, they're already planning and preparing for this. So we need to be planning and preparing for what it is that we're going to do to preserve the Founders' Republic, our country. Because like Dr. Savage says, at the end of the day, the way things are shaping up, it's going to be up to all of us in the end. I hope that we can unite around the principles that we all hold dear as Americans. We don't have to agree on everything, but all of us who believe in the Constitution, who believe in the country as founded, we need to be banding together, and we need to be talking, we need to be planning and preparing to defend our homes, our families, our communities from this imminent threat the election's now less than 2 months away. So time is not our friend right now, people. We are on the cusp of what could be one of the most chaotic and violent times in American history. And it's something that those of us who have lived after World War II, we don't really have any frame of reference for this stuff. Immigrants do. If you are a Yugoslavian immigrant who lived through the Civil War over there, or if you are from Ukraine and you've dealt with the ongoing civil war in that country, then you know what this kind of thing is, what this means. And it's a very sad thing. It's disturbing, and it's gut-wrenching, because the truth is that none of us on the Patriot side would ever wish for this. This is not something to be happy about, or something to celebrate in any way. It's really a tragedy that things have gotten to this point. And yes, the Democratic Party has been hijacked by communists, and they are mounting a communist revolution right now. But I'm going to tell all of you right now, I place a lot of the blame for this at the feet of the Republican Party, because the Republican Party and the conservative movement that we've all known growing up, that was started by William F. Buckley, obviously they have been an abject failure. They failed to conserve anything. And that is why the the nationalist or populist right, along with the libertarian wing of the party, are ascendant now, because the Buckleyites, the traditional checkered pants Republicans, conservatives failed us. They failed to conserve the things that make this country great. They just kept giving in, surrendering. They kept giving more and more ground up to the forces of the left, until now we're at the point where we, the citizenry, are having to ask ourselves these questions, and we're having these discussions quietly online, but also, in person, in our, in our churches, our groups and associations out there, and we're asking ourselves what we need to do next, because none of us wants to live under the type of government that the left wants to put into place, because it is a communist government. It is a totalitarian state that would control every aspect of our lives, that would eliminate our American way of life. All of that would be wiped away, would be a thing of the past if these people are allowed to come to power. So I know that many of you will agree with me when I say that that cannot be allowed to happen. These people cannot be allowed to overthrow our American form of government and to implement a communist state in America. We can't allow that to happen. And even though the situation may look dire, I still believe that if we all band together, if we work together in earnest, if we refuse to cower in fear, that we can stop that from happening. We do have the numbers. There are millions and millions of patriots around this country who support the Constitution, who love their American way of life, who don't want to see our country fundamentally transformed. And right now, what we need more than anything is we need to find each other, and we need to organize effectively to take action to prevent the left from realizing that goal. So we have more power than what we give ourselves credit for. Just because the left has control of the media. They're like the Wizard of Oz. They're, behind the projector, behind the curtain, so they're able to use the media to project, an aura of invincibility, of inevitability, that, all of us are on the wrong side of history and there's nothing we can do and it's futile to resist. Bullshit. That is total 100% bullshit. We can resist, and we can resist effectively, and we can win if we fight with our whole hearts, and if we put our heads together and we fight in an intelligent way. I'm not talking about going out and laying siege to Lansing, although I'm sure many of us have thought about that, considering what our fascist governor Gretchen Whitmer has done here in Michigan. Um, we have to maintain the moral high ground. We can't. We're never going to operate the way that the left operates. We have the example of the founding fathers to follow. They only used force as a last resort. After they had petitioned the crown with a list of their grievances, they tried to negotiate and tried to find a resolution. They were ignored. They were mocked. Finally, the British soldiers started to commit atrocities and tried to use force to disarm the patriots in that time, and that's when the Revolutionary War started, after all of that happened. So till the very brink of war, they maintained the moral high ground. And we have to do that too. So it's a time to gird your loins. It's a time to steel your spine and reach out and connect with people in your community and in your state and around the country who believe in these fundamental principles and truths, and to work together to prepare for this critical time that's almost upon us right now. I know I'm doing that. I know many patriots here in Michigan who are doing that right now. And I'm not going to get into any specifics about those discussions, but, as time has gone on, more and more people have come to the realization that, writing a strongly worded letter to your state representative, your state senator, the governor, your congressman, U.S. senator, that's all well and good, but, the time for that has really passed at this point. I intend to vote, and I'm going to vote in person, because I'm going to ensure that my vote gets counted, and I encourage each and every one of you to do the same. The best case scenario that we can hope for is that President Trump is reelected in a landslide. That's a great thing, because then at least we know that we have a man who loves our country and believes in our country as founded, doesn't want it to be transformed into a socialist society, is in the White House. But that does not mean that the left is going to slink away into whatever rat hole they came out of. That they're just going to accept that, take their Tinker toys, and go home. Sorry, boys and girls, that's not going to happen. They've dropped the mask. They've dropped the act of we're for tolerance. We support civil liberties. No, they don't. They are every bit as fascist as Mussolini's Italy or Hitler's Germany ever were. And we see that on a daily basis now. So let's just disabuse ourselves of that notion right now. They are authoritarian. They do not respect our rights to speak freely, or obviously not the Second Amendment, our right to keep and bear arms. They've already said that they want to come for the guns. So when you get rid of the First and Second Amendments, you're not free anymore. You might as well just shred the rest of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution because you are a slave. You're a serf at that point. When those fundamental amendments, those fundamental rights, there's a reason why they're first in the Bill of Rights. When those are taken away, then the people of this country would have no recourse. They'd have no way to fight back against encroaching tyranny. So we're not going to let that happen. If you leftist turds think that you can intimidate us into giving up those rights, you're wrong. You're wrong. I won't give up my rights. And none of the patriots that I know, that I talk to on a daily basis, are planning to give up their rights. No, we'll stand up, and we will fight you. We will fight you tooth and nail on that. That's a promise. And a lot of us are people who try to have useful and productive discussions with reasonable liberals. I've said that many times before on this program. The old-time blue-collar Democrats, call them whatever you want, Dick Gephardt, Jimmy Carter, Democrats like that. You guys are not our enemy. If anything, your party left you behind. We feel bad for the position that you've been put in. And we can relate to it in many ways, because the Republican Party, before Donald Trump took a wrecking ball to it, did the same thing to us. So welcome to the club, guys. But those men and women, those old school Democrats, are not our enemy. It is the progressive, socialist, communist left. They are the enemy within. They are the ones that do not have any respect for the Constitution. They don't believe in the Bill of Rights. They don't believe that this is anything but an evil country that needs to be transformed into a socialist state. And they think that they're going to get a utopia out of that. They're dead enders, just as much as ISIS, any of these terror groups, Al-Qaeda, groups like that have this belief that their philosophy is the only right one, and that they will do anything that is necessary to see their ideology, to see their viewpoint be universally adopted and be the only sanctioned or legal viewpoint, just like the Soviet Union or Red China. So I'm done with people like that. I'm done. I don't waste my time anymore trying to convince those people that what they're doing is wrong and that it's only going to result in more misery and suffering and death. I'm done with that. I'll talk to old school Democrats, independents, libertarians. I'll talk to those people. I can reason with those people. But the other people, you're wasting your time. Don't waste your time with those trolls. You'd be better off spending your time, talking with like-minded fellow Americans, networking with them, and putting in place concrete action plans for the run-up to the election and for what we could reasonably expect afterward. So, yeah, we all need to get online for for the battles ahead right now. Yeah, we need to continue to fully engage in the political process. Absolutely. I'm not saying to unplug from that, to stop being active in that arena, but we also need to be, realistic and pragmatic about what's coming down the pike here. We need more constitutional sheriffs around America. We have a great candidate here. I don't know if you're listening, Jason Hall, but Jason Hall is running for Muskegon County Sheriff, and he is a constitutionalist. He's an American patriot who believes in the rule of law. He doesn't do the social justice bullshit, the kneeling, the virtue signaling. He doesn't do any of that. He believes in our Second Amendment rights and the critical role of the American militia in preserving a free state. That's what Jason Hall believes in. And I know there are many other good sheriffs around Michigan and in other states around this great country who believe the same way. We need to have more sheriffs like that out there. And yeah, we need to be working together to establish neighborhood watch groups, and yeah, to organize as brothers and sisters to take on that role that we've had since the founding of our country, since 1775. Militiamen and militia women. It's in the Constitution. It says it right there. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
No way.
We've lost the memory of that. We've lost some of that history over the centuries, but we need to be reclaiming that. We need to own that. There have been a lot of people on social media who've been criticizing Kyle Rittenhouse and the actions that he took in Kenosha. But I've been following that situation very closely since that news broke. From everything I can see, that young man acted in self-defense. And he was there for a noble purpose. He was there to protect property, and he was there to render medical assistance to any protesters on either side that were injured or sick. He's an EMT. He was there as a first responder, as somebody who was there to help people. And he was attacked, and he defended himself. But the reason I bring that up is Kyle did a great job, really, of exemplifying that spirit of that's what a militiaman or a militia woman should stand for. Because the militia, going back to our founding, was always a defensive organization. It was not a standing army. It was not a military force to go out and conquer territory, or attack other countries. That was not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is in the Constitution, to secure a free state. Because if you take that away, then the Second Amendment means nothing, and it loses its function, which is not about hunting, it's not even about, I mean, it is about having the ability to be armed to defend yourself and your family, your household, sure. But the reason for its existence is given right there, for the security of a free state. Because if you take that away, you've taken away the final safeguard to prevent tyranny. It's that simple. So militia is not a dirty word unless you're a tyrant. Because the militia is the people themselves. Red, yellow, black, white has nothing to do with what the media is trying to portray about white supremacists and Nazis and KKK. Those groups, those are hate groups. They have nothing to do with the American militia at all. Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. But yeah, those of us who are patriots and are able-bodied, even if you're not able-bodied, I mean, you can do something. You can do something to help. You can do something to help the cause, but ideally, the militia is there only to back up a constitutional sheriff. Now, unfortunately, in Portland, we've seen law enforcement stand down there. So it's the Wild West out there. I mean, you're basically taking away the rule of law. Excuse me. But yeah, when you take away the rule of law, then it's, individual groups of individual citizens are left to defend themselves at that point, to prevent not just the destruction of property, but assaults and rapes and murders. And all that was taking place, let's not forget, in Chaz, the occupied zone there in Seattle. That kind of stuff was going on out there because the rule of law was taken away. So, yeah, ideally, the militia is there to back up the constitutional sheriff in each county. That's how that is supposed to work. Now, unfortunately, not every sheriff or every police chief is a patriot, a constitutionalist, so that may not always be possible. But yeah, the more we can do to elect more of those people, the better off that we're all going to be if and when this situation comes about where the left is trying to roll out the red terror around the country because Joe Biden was not declared the winner. We can't. This country has been through so much this year with the COVID bullshit, the lockdown hoax, and the economic collapse that has resulted from that. And now the riots that we've seen around the country, mostly in blue cities, but it's starting to occur in some smaller cities too. Kenosha and now out in upstate New York there. It's starting to spread outside of those areas too. So the country's endured an awful lot, and many people's lives have been completely ruined. Their businesses have been eliminated. I know, just to give you an example, I used to like to go to the gym every day before work. I'd go and get in a quick workout. Um, every gym here on Apple Avenue, there used to be three of them east of US 31. There were three of those gyms. All three are permanently closed. So those are all businesses that were lost. Those are jobs that are gone now. And I'm really having to hunt. I'm going to have to drive a long ways to find. I'm going to end up having to go to one of these big chains probably to be able to go and work out at a gym anymore. And that's thanks to Gretchen Whitmer and her ridiculous, unconstitutional executive orders that have absolutely devastated the economy here in Michigan. Michigan's one of the worst examples, but I know that there are similar, the situation is pretty similar around the country, and we can't let the radical left destroy our main streets or go out and terrorize residential neighborhoods. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because at the end of the day, if that stuff starts, then patriots, American men and women, along with it, constitutional law enforcement are going to put a stop to it, because we can't take any more of that. A lot of us are trying to bounce back or trying to rebuild our lives from the devastation that has occurred to date in 2020, and we're not going to lay down and allow the left to destroy what's left. That's the last thing that we need, for sure, here in Muskegon County. We don't need that. We don't want that, and it's not a Republican Democrat thing. Most mainstream Democrats don't want businesses destroyed. They don't want jobs to be lost. They don't want their neighborhoods to be terrorized by these stupid Antifa and BLM thugs that we're seeing on social media. They don't want that stuff either. So, yeah, we have to have hard discussions, but constructive discussions about, what do we do to be prepared to protect not only ourselves and our families, our households, but also our communities. We need to have those discussions. And that's not something to be ashamed of. You should be proud of that. You should be proud of taking responsibility, of taking ownership, of protecting your communities. That's a great thing. I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed at all to say that. And you shouldn't be either. Turn off the TV, turn off the gas bags and the leftist media. People like Jake Crapper and, Don Lemon. Idiots like that who are just going to feed you lies and try to make you feel like you're alone. Turn that shit off. Use that time productively by reaching out and networking and organizing and working in common cause with your fellow patriots right now, while we still have time and things are still, halfway normal, depending on what part of the country you live in. But don't waste time. use the time that you have productively and effectively. I just want to urge all of you to do that. And there are a lot of great groups out there that you can get involved in that are doing just that. Michigan Home Guard is one example. There are many others. There are preparedness groups out there. I've been banging the gong on that for a while. Make sure you got your food storage. Get out of debt as much as you can. Make sure you've got essential supplies, first aid supplies, communications. Hopefully, if you don't have your amateur radio license, at least have your crank radio, your GMRS radios, CB. Do what you can in all those critical areas right now. Do that right now while you can still get those critical items that you need. Don't wait until after the election when prices may be higher than they are now, or you're just not able to get what you need at all. Take care of that. Get that checked off. That's just smart. You're not losing anything by preparing. If anything, you're going to have a whole lot more peace of mind knowing that at least you've got critical equipment and supplies at your home or your retreat location, if you're fortunate enough to have one of those, where you can use them. That's common sense. So that's something that every one of us should be doing right now. But at the same time, we also need to be connecting with each other and working preferably within these existing organizations that I just talked about, who already have, infrastructure, who already have plans and groups of people that are like-minded. Don't reinvent the wheel, but connect with your fellow Americans, your fellow patriots. Do it today. Do it as soon as you possibly can, and then take action. Take meaningful action. We're going to be in for a really rough ride, I think. And I know you've heard that from a lot of conservative talk show hosts and pundits, and I'm, repeating some of the same stuff that they're saying. But yeah, storm clouds are forming right now, and none of us are going to know for certain what is going to happen when we wake up November 4, what we're going to be dealing with, what we're going to be facing as a country, but also individually in our everyday lives. So that's why taking these steps right now is so very important. I want to send out a prayer request to all of my listeners for a friend of mine. She's been my friend for 3.5 years. And I'm not going to go into the details of what happened to her and her family because I don't want to put her personal business out there. But her name is Audra Johnson. And she is a Trump supporter. She is a constitutionalist. She's a great patriot. And unfortunately, over these last 2 weeks, she has undergone a tremendous personal tragedy. And it was at the hands of what appear to be leftist thugs. I don't know exactly what group they're affiliated with, but she is hurting tremendously, and her family's hurting because her and one of her daughters were hurt. They were hurt by these people, and wanted to bring that up to ask all of you to pray for her and for her child and her family, that they can start to heal from what they've gone through over the past couple weeks here, and also to bring it up just to illustrate how close to home this stuff is hitting, because we're talking about Kent County here. This is not Portland. This is not Kenosha. It's not Seattle or New York City. This is right here in West Michigan. And the media is not reporting any of it. They're not reporting these attacks, these vicious attacks that are occurring against our people here on the right. But trust me, they are occurring. And they're serious. And like I said before on my last program here, I believe a significant percentage of these BLM and Antifa thugs are convicted felons, are hardened violent criminals, and they don't have a moral compass. They don't have any remorse, and they will not hesitate if they have an opportunity to attack you or your family. If they can get to your family, your wife, your kids, they're more than happy to do that. In fact, I think they prefer to do that. I think that they operate, the same way that any organized criminal gang would operate. That way, they're gonna hit you where you're weakest, where they feel you're most vulnerable. So keep your family close. Keep your wives and children close to you, or your husbands, your parents. If you've got elderly parents, we know they like to go after old people. We've seen the videos where they're walking up to old women and slugging them in the face. They have no problem doing that. So right now is not the time to take risks, to take chances that could open up your loved ones to an attack from some of these communist pigs. You need to have your head on a swivel. You need to have situational awareness when you're going out and conducting your daily business. And you need to try to avoid those unnecessary risks that could result in, in yourself or one of your family members being hurt or killed or sexually assaulted by these shitbags out there. So I know I'm making that part of my thought process, my decision process, on a daily basis right now. I'm doing that because it's just common sense, and that's the truth about what a civil war would look like in this country. It's not the blue and the gray, the north and the south anymore. There is no Geneva Convention. There are no rules of warfare and something like that. It is brutal. It is vicious. It doesn't spare the innocent at all. So it's never anything that anybody should ever wish for. But I'm here to tell you that the radical left, the communists in this country are serious about this, and they are, they're on the move. They're taking offensive actions, and you're not hearing about all of them. You're not hearing about all of them. So, just wanted to give you guys, that information and share some of my thoughts and some prudent steps that you can take to protect yourselves as we approach the event horizon with the election less than 60 days away. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If any of you have any thoughts to share on the topics that I've touched on this evening, drop me a line, comment on the video, share the video. I'm hoping I don't know what happened to Mr. Beck, Joseph Beck, but I have tried multiple ways of reaching out to him. I hope he's okay. I hope his family's okay. I don't know if he was threatened by the left, but I have not been able to reach him since probably a month ago. So, yeah, wherever you're at, Joseph, all of us, we wish you the best, man. Love to see you come back, but at this point, I'm trying to find another co-host for the program. I know Dakota Turgeon has been a great fill-in host for me a couple times. Thanks, Dakota, for filling in here and there. I feel the program's a lot better when I have a co-host to kind of bounce off from. So, if you think about, reach out to me, man. But I'm sure I can find somebody who would like to take part in this discussion for an hour a week. So I'll let you guys know what happens in that area. And just share this video wherever you can and try to spread our message around. I'll try to hopefully line up some more guests too. I know my friend Richie still wants to come on, Richie Losada. Hopefully we can get him on, having some technical difficulties in that area, but he still wants to come on the program. So with that, that is all I have for you this evening, but I hope each of you stay safe. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the Republic. Bye-bye.